right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have a special sode in store for you. It's Reagan and Ryan, as always, here on the Decent Channel, and we're doing a Decent Channel mini-series on Seinfeld. We're kind of jokingly calling it the podcast about nothing. And what we're going to be doing here is going through every single episode of Seinfeld and kind of giving our review of seasons at a time. So today's episode will be season 1, because that is the number after 0. So, Reagan, how are you doing today? You excited about our miniseries?
Yeah, great. Thanks for great job on the intro there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Try to let people know what's happening.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be talking season 1 of Seinfeld, only 5 episodes.
Right.
There's a lot of things we could kind of dissect. Obviously, we did our research by watching the season, but I guess we didn't really do any research on, how the season was received. Because we know the show kind of didn't get big until, season 3.
No, which is wild. I'll start right off the bat. It was weird to me looking up, they had the first episode on July 5th of 1989, and then they had the second episode on May 31st, 1990. So they almost waited a whole year before doing another episode.
Yes, and there is, to me, a drastic difference between that first and second episode.
Yeah, because one of them looks like, honestly, it is an 80s show, but it looks like an 80s show. It looks awful. You can't even really see what's going on, whereas the next one looks like the rest of Seinfeld, honestly. It looks, standard definition.
Right. It does look much better. Obviously, his apartment's drastically different, but not drastically, but pretty different between the first and second episode. The characters just feel obviously more comfortable, more polished within an episode. Everything in that first episode feels a little awkward, but we don't really know anybody. It's obviously...
No Elaine. No Kramer.
No Elaine or Kramer in the first episode?
Mm-mm.
I thought he had Kramer in the first episode.
Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't.
Because Kramer's telling him to sleep with the chick, I thought.
Well, George was telling him to sleep with the chick. Oh, yeah, you're right. He is in the first episode. But there was no Elaine.
Okay.
So,
right.
Which is weird.
It is.
And Jerry's father is different, which is also weird.
Right.
It's also weird that we see them in the first episode.
His parents?
I feel like they're side characters. We see them in the first episode.
Yeah. Well, I think it's... there's a few things that I've noticed in this first season to where they've done certain things that kind of became staples on the show or kind of got referenced later on in the show, but there's also a lot of stuff you feel like they were doing. They're kind of testing it out, and then it kind of goes away.
Yeah.
There's again, I guess his parents, maybe they thought his parents had to be part of the show, and then they're they're side characters, and then they get better actors for them. His parents, to me, become a bigger part of the show later because they get the 2 actors that they get, who to me are much better. His mom is perfect.
Yeah.
So what I meant by that point too is if you notice, him and Elaine have a fair amount of tension. From I guess their breakup. They.
But then they pretty much just let it go after the first season or whatever.
Yeah, because during every season after that, it just seems like either one of them could care less who they're dating. Granted, they still talk about their relationships, but there's no tension about it.
And they have a whole episode called The Deal, where they deal with them sleeping together just for fun, what that's like.
The original Friends with Benefits.
And it's super serious, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next time they do it later in the Mango episode, it's just a funny joke at the end of the episode. It's complete humor or whatever. I looked at a couple of facts. They said that Larry basically pitched the show with a no hugging protocol. So it's and what he meant by that was there's no lessons learned.
Yep.
Nothing changes. There's no feel good moment. These characters don't change at all.
Yes. And I love that about the show.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's honestly, it's what gives it so much rewatchability.
Yeah,
because you don't have to put up with the
standard tropes of any show or movie, any form of storytelling. There's always some kind of bow wrapping, or the characters progress or learn something or get better. But obviously, these 4 never learn or get better.
A couple other facts I got. I want to throw them out there. Before the show was set to air, Jerry asked Jason Alexander, a guy who plays George, if he thought the chances of what the chances of success were. He said they don't have a chance at all. He said because the audience for the show is me and I don't watch TV.
Right.
Which is wild. And then another one is Larry David was like quite volatile in meetings with NBC. He wouldn't take any of their notes or suggestions, and eventually was banned from attending meetings. So he just right out the gate.
Right out the gate, he gets banned from attending meetings, and yet they still go on to make 9 seasons of this show.
Yeah, it's wild.
With him basically creating it the whole time.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't.
But based on what we've seen in Curb, I believe that.
Yeah.
I definitely believe that.
And then it says that after filming season 1, Jason Alexander became more and more accustomed to just basically trying to do a Larry David impersonation the entire time, which I think is funny because that's like who the character is based on, kind of.
Yeah. And I love it because he does such a good imitation. But to me, I've said this before. I think I said it on the episode with Gamble where we talked about Seinfeld, to where like he is Larry David, but like he's also just George. Like to me, they're still separate people even though they act the same.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing how 2 people can act the same and yet feel so different. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like I just get different vibes from both of them even if they're doing the same behaviors. Like with Larry, I feel more anger. With George, I feel more humor.
Yeah, but they're both guys that get upset at the small stuff. Little stuff bother them and just rude as hell.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on season 1? We just watched all of season 1.
It reminded me that I haven't seen season 1 a lot. I've barely seen season 1. I think I was most familiar with the stock tip episode and maybe the pilot.
Yeah, really. Wow, that was the second time I've ever watched the pilot.
Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the setting of the apartment and the fact that he's trying to get that girl to come over. For some reason, it just really stood out to me as if I remembered it. But, like I said, it really got a few things right. They did a few things right out the gate that were good. Like Kramer's pretty good right out the gate. Obviously, he's a little bit more tame. I feel like as the show goes on, he kind of uses less words and more movements and noises.
Yeah, he gets more and more. Yeah, it just gets more and more physical, I guess.
Yeah. But it works. It's somehow more tasteful than most people who do physical comedy. And then George is pretty much the same throughout. I feel like he was pretty solid. Granted, again, same with him. Everything just gets multiplied a little bit. He gets a little bit more angry, more lines, more story, but really right out the gate, George doesn't seem much different. To me, the biggest thing is like how everything looks, the fact that he has kind of stand-up throughout the show instead of having like...
Just at the beginning.
Just at the beginning and then having story. And then towards the end of the show, they don't even have stand-up at the beginning anymore.
Yeah, it's like they ran out.
Right. Well, that's a lot of stand-up. So, and his stand-up is pretty cheesy, but I guess the more I've watched Seinfeld, the more I've watched him do stand-up, the more I appreciate it. But I don't really like it throughout the show. I kind of wish they would just tell the story. Yeah. What are you thinking?
I mean, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. I want to set a couple of precedents.
Okay.
Because I want to have a favorite episode, a least favorite episode.
Please, yes.
Favorite, least favorite, supporting characters, basically anybody outside of the 4.
With each season.
Yeah, with each season, and then we'll rank the seasons that I think would be a good thing to do. But I don't.
All of that sounds great. I didn't think of any of that.
But the stuff on this season is it's only 5 episodes. It's gonna be the last season. It's gonna be number 9. Ranked.
Right.
Like every other season is probably better than it, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Just because it's not enough episodes.
No.
Honestly.
Yeah.
4 more episodes, maybe.
So we already know this season's going to be in last place. I did like the stakeout. That might be my favorite episode from this season. Either that or the stock tip. But I like the stakeout just because, I don't know, it felt kind of relatable, or it was kind of funny how like he has no way to contact this woman and he wants to see her, so he's going to wait outside her work and pretend that him and George are there for a business meeting. And of course, she doesn't know who George is, but he still insists on being Art Vandelay.
He's like, I'm the architect. Let me be the architect. I can handle it.
So
we start with the Vandelay immediately.
I do love the fact that within the second episode, they have the architect joke and the Vandelay joke already going, and those become staples throughout the show. So I did enjoy that. But I did forget. Does he end up getting the date with the girl? What happens?
He ends up getting a date with her, but Elaine finds out about it, and basically he like feels like a jackass because he goes around Elaine to get to that girl. Basically,
That's right.
and that's what I love. Another part about the episode is when they're at the dinner, and Elaine is trying to talk to Jerry about something so stupid while he's trying to hit on the girl or whatever, and he just turns his head so slowly, and it's such like an eye roll. Like, are you done talking?
Yeah, because she had a dream about him,
face.
right?
Yeah, he's just like, okay, what is it? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, you had wood? No, did you have wooden teeth? No, I had wooden teeth. And then like he's just like, okay, are we done here? I gotta hit on this girl now.
I did enjoy it, and I messed up earlier. I forgot that his mom was the same throughout all the season.
Throughout.
But yeah, just the dad. The dad's different. So I'm glad they changed the dad, and also just since we're on the subject of changing dads, this dad looks a lot like the dad that they had for George originally as well. They changed his dad to Jerry Stiller.
They both kind of look like Larry David.
Yeah, they all look. Yeah, they all are like old, bald, white men with like just thin white hairs in the area. But yeah, I'm glad they got rid of those guys.
Yeah, same.
The two guys they got are much better, and not just because they have hair. They're just funny.
They are just funnier, honestly. But the moms, they got classic. Yeah, honestly, I think if I had to pick my favorite episode, I'd probably go Sock Tip as well. I do actually like the male unbonding.
See, I was thinking about making that my least favorite of this season.
Even episode 1.
Maybe it's close.
Episode 1 is my least favorite.
It's kind of a tie. The only reason why is because it made me very uncomfortable, the male unbonding one. But I did like the idea of it. I like the idea of like
breaking up with a guy as if he's your friend.
Yes.
Or as if he's your girlfriend, but he's your friend.
Yes. And in that episode, we get Kramer introducing to the make your own pizza pie place.
American Industries.
Yes, that too. He answers the phone with that. It never explains it either.
No.
Doesn't explain it. They don't ask him, I don't think. And but yeah, and I honestly, I've done it before too. The whole male unbonding thing. Like I've never like had to break up with a guy, but like the list of excuses. Like I just have like like having yeah. I mean I don't actually have it written down, but I always like make sure I have excuses on deck.
Ready.
Yeah. So I've done that before for certain people, or obviously avoiding answering the phone, screening, but digital screening in our world, which is where I like, look at your Facebook message or look at your text, but don't actually open it,
Right.
type of thing.
That's key, yeah.
Really good at, not answering Jordan's phone calls, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely good in that area.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, what was I gonna say? You would make your own. You said you would make your own pizza, right?
Right.
Would you think that's a good idea?
I don't think it's a great idea, just because I think
I could picture that being like a trendy, stupid.
I could see it being a trendy place, but what are they going to do when they get crowded? I mean, they have to have a lot of kitchen space and a lot of ovens, and then you still have to sit somewhere to eat the pizza you make. So it's like, this is going to be a pretty big place with a lot of gear. Otherwise, I feel like you're going to be waiting forever.
Yeah.
And also, you're going to be there for a while anyway, because you have to
drive through or takeout.
Right.
Well, I guess
you could take your pizza home.
It would have to be an aspect of a business. It couldn't be like
the whole business.
Yeah, because like later in the show they talk about it as if it's just going to be a part of Poppy's
restaurant.
Yeah.
Which makes little to no sense, but maybe they could do that. Maybe it's a restaurant.
And you can do
that. You can do that, and you have to pay a pretty decent price to do that.
Which is weird when you think about it.
What?
I'm paying more to do work.
To do work, yeah. True. But it's all supervised.
It's all supervised. Oh, super.
So, I don't know. I would definitely do it. I guess it hasn't, unless we don't know about this business that exists, I'm assuming it hasn't been done because the logistics are probably too complicated.
Yeah.
And then they'd have to have the ingredients separate for people. They don't want people's hands touching all the ingredients that everybody else uses.
Especially not now.
Right.
Honestly, yeah, that was another thing that made me think about you is when he's about to break up with the dude, and like he talks about the guy's like rambling about something, and Jerry's just BSing him.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to Iran."
Yeah, they're gonna have me on the comedy tour out there, and the guy's not acknowledging him at all. I'm like, yeah, I could see Money saying something like this because no one pays attention. Honestly,
right? They don't.
Like no one pays attention anymore.
Nope, they don't, and I do it all the time.
Which is super relatable, honestly.
Yeah, it's very relatable because I've done that. I've had somebody ramble like that. I'm like, I bet I could say anything here, and I've like said something random, and they'll agree with me, and I go, "What I just said made no sense. Like you just agreed with nothing."
Like,
and they're like, "Oh, really? What?"
I've yelled or not yelled, but I've said like Eric Andre stuff, and people do not care. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like I'll be like, take a poop in front of us or something. I don't know. Like I'll say something really weird, like we're gonna go get some Cherokee chicks on the Trail of Beers.
Of course,
and then,
classic.
And people are just like, yeah. So this is a picture of me or something. I don't know, something about me instead of them. It's like, okay.
It is amazing.
Thanks, appreciate it.
It just comes back to people only care about themselves.
Of course. But yeah, I like that episode. I guess I just like that scene, really, honestly. Like, do you think you could get away with the excuse of, like, we have choir practice? What are the stupid excuses?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Isn't that like a terrible?
That's terrible.
Oh, we're gonna have to see if we're gonna be organ donors or whatever.
Yeah,
those
are both
that day. Those are terrible excuses. Do you think you get away with those?
No, I don't think I could.
Would you try?
That's what I was gonna say. I've done so many excuses in my life, but most of the time either they're legit or I try to make them legit. I just
gotta base them on a kernel of truth.
Right. Yeah, I never seem to go for the exaggerated excuse because I feel like they'd see right through it, and I don't want to hurt that person's feelings.
Yeah.
But like that guy didn't see it at all. He was oblivious. He was just like, "Yeah, well, I should really think about donating my organs." And they're like, "Oh, you really should."
Yeah, you should. Yeah, no doubt.
And we might be wrong, but we did talk about. They didn't make a Superman reference till episode 5, and Superman's kind of a staple for Seinfeld himself and throughout the show.
Right.
Talking about how he doesn't have super humor.
Right.
So.
You think he would have super humor?
I think so.
I don't think so.
I mean, he's never funny, but Jerry is right. He should, but in any Superman content you consume, he's not funny.
But what does the sun give him, like, does it make his brain better?
That's exactly the point.
Is the brain where the humor comes from?
Yes, maybe.
You would imagine?
I would imagine, but you are right. It's like, what is Superman's brain like? Is he good at math?
Smart?
Yeah, obviously he's good enough to have a job at a newspaper.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily prove he's a genius.
No. Most regular people, I imagine, could do that.
Exactly. So, maybe he's not super smart. I mean, because it seems like Batman's the smartest one.
Yeah. Right, yeah, definitely. And you would imagine
he's a human. He's just a regular guy.
And he outsmarts Superman. That's how he beats him. You know what I mean?
So Jerry's argument kind of falls short then. Superman's really not that smart, which would make sense that he's not funny either.
Right. Yeah.
So he's just physically affected by the sun, not mentally.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Great debate, though. Great, important debate.
Yeah, very important. Okay, so what were some of your other categories? We talked about our favorite and least favorite episode. Did you talk about your least favorite? You said the pilots?
Yeah, I go pilot, honestly, just because it's to me one of the episodes of the show I never watched, and that just tells me this is the second time I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
I think I've only seen the finale once.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen the finale a lot.
Really?
Used to be on TV all the time.
That's true.
And my parents loved the finale.
Still?
Or actually,
have they
I think my dad did. I mean, they don't watch Seinfeld anymore. It's not really on.
Uh-huh.
And like I'm the only one that uses the DVDs. So like if it were on, they would watch it, but I just think whenever they're watching TV, it's not on because it only comes on like TBS during the middle of the day. And honestly, I feel like Friends has replaced it because I feel like Friends is always on TBS in the middle of the day. And
Friends is everywhere, dude. It's
right.
Wild. Mm-hmm. I don't know why.
I guess because once they got put on Netflix again, it just kind of blew up. And it was already a great show, obviously, and it had already done its blowing up, but I guess it just made a resurgence because of maybe Netflix. And so cable companies were hopping on it like, hey, everybody's watching Friends, like, let's put it on our network.
And now you see it's probably going to be The Office.
Probably The Office, yeah. Office is starting to kind of grow everywhere. But I've been seeing, like, a lot of people getting, like, Friends, like, merchandise lately.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people on Instagram like are just showing off like Friends merch. So, and I see a lot of people wearing Friends shirts, and like when I say I mean like everybody, like white, black, Hispanic, like everybody's wearing like Friends gear. And
yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So, very rarely do I see Seinfeld gear.
That's true. There's not as many. Is there as many iconic things? I mean, I know we like the show more. Right, I mean, we like the show.
Right, well, I mean, define iconic things. I mean, to me, the coffee shop's iconic, just like Central Perk's iconic, but I guess Central Perk's catchier.
I'm thinking of, like, things that you could put on a shirt or something to where like it would be a reference and people would want it, you know.
But how many of the like Friends doesn't really have any of those?
It's got like the writing, you know, the FRIES
Yeah.
or whatever.
So that would
It's
be
got
that
the
would be it.
stupid thing that goes over the peephole. It's like the thing that goes over the peephole, the square box.
Okay.
It's like a picture
They
frame.
have a logo of that, or I mean a shirt of that, or something.
I'm sure of it.
Because that most of the Friends merch I see is just like the logo, the Friends, you know, the letters, and
Quotes.
Central Perk. I don't really see a whole lot of quotes.
Really?
Did I tell you about the toast at the wedding
No.
that I had most recently?
No.
Okay, sorry we're getting off topic, fans.
Go
We're talking
ahead.
about Friends. We're doing a Friends tangent, but did a wedding
Don't
where
worry, I think 1 Corinthians.
the matron of honor did a Friends themed toast.
That's.
She made over
Done?
33 references to Friends
You were
throughout the
counting?
toast.
You were
She
counting?
counted.
Oh,
She
okay,
told
okay.
us, and I knew every reference, and it was so well done.
Really?
It was the best toast I've ever seen because it was actually a toast, and she just peppered in like Friends references. She's like, I don't remember the couple's name, but she's like, Emily, you know, when you met Brad, you found your lobster. You know, she was doing stuff like that, and she even like had a lobster.
Did you say something about like, we were on a break or something?
That she probably made a break reference. The biggest reference that was the funniest is she did the whole number system. She like, Brett, you need to know the 7 erogenous zones. Most guys, and she did the whole bit. Like she word for word did the bit 1, 2, 3,
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 7. Like she did the whole thing, and it was hilarious. And the crowd wasn't feeling it at all.
At all, dude?
Me and the bride and the groom were laughing the hardest. Everybody else was just like, or not laughing at all, or like, dude, whatever, dude. I was so mad at that crowd. I had to go up because, like, I feel like she maybe felt she was bombing because nobody was like dying laughing. So I like went up to her and went up to the bride, and I was like, I just want you guys to know that was the greatest toast I've ever seen. Like,
And you're the DJ, so you've seen a lot of
I've seen a
toasts.
lot of toasts, yeah, and it's definitely probably the best one. There are a few others, but that one I'll probably never forget. It was so good. 33 Friends references. Like, so now, like, I got to do that, but for like Seinfeld or something.
That'd be wild, dude. That'd
Be great.
Incredible.
I know.
Anyway, back to Seinfeld.
Back to Sein.
I guess I was going to do categories. It's going to really be more applicable in later episodes.
But let's just do it. Let's give it a shot.
Favorite and least favorite side character.
Okay.
It's going to be kind of tough.
I can tell you my least favorite.
Okay.
I didn't care for all the Well, I guess it's good that they had some diversity on there, but I felt that the dry cleaner and the grocery store guy were kind of stereotypical. The Asian guy with the bran flakes and the Indian guy at the dry cleaner.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just didn't care for that. I felt like, I don't know, they just felt stereotypical.
Think so?
Yeah, maybe. But at the same time, it's good that they had those people on the show instead of just regular, like, white guys, you know, diversity in the 90s, that's cool, but, like,
I guess,
I don't know. And then I didn't care for, oh, actually, you know what? Scrap those. I didn't like the guy. I didn't like the male unbonding
The
guy.
male and bonding guy.
Yeah, I didn't like his friend.
Kevin Dunn, who plays Joel,
There you go.
which is the guy. I guess that's the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, the organ donor guy. Didn't like him.
I would agree with that as well. Yeah, he was just a little over the top. You know, it was definitely like they were trying to find their spot and their humor.
Mm-hmm.
But it is just sort of they were like throwing everything at the fan and just seeing, or everything at the wall, I guess, and just seeing like what stuck.
Yeah.
Because that was like a little too intense for Seinfeld, honestly. The way he's like yelling at the waitress and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Although it was like still funny, I don't know.
Yeah. Now, who's your favorite? There wasn't a ton.
There wasn't a ton of side characters. I mean, I guess I gotta give it to Jerry's mom, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I guess I gotta give it to her. I would also give like an honorable mention to, for least favorite, Leanne Clark is Vanessa in the stock tip or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't like her.
I loved how she just got rude as crap for no reason because they went on that vacation. He's like, what perfume are you wearing? And she says, oh, you've never heard of it. He's like, no, seriously. Like, well, I can't tell you. And why would that ever occur?
Yeah,
why would you not be able to tell?
I was baffled by that.
But it was such an accurate representation of like when something goes wrong on a trip and like how quickly that situation can just explode.
Yes.
Because it's just like, oh, what can we do? It's raining. I'm like, yeah, it's raining. Why do you have to be in a bad mood? Like, You guys went to Vermont. You didn't go to Florida or whatever. I don't know. You didn't go like super far away.
Right.
Like, get over it.
Just Vermont. Uh-oh.
What's the dealio?
Apparently, free agent guard J.R. Smith emerges as the leading candidate to replace Avery Bradley on the Lakers roster. J.R.
That is what you... I was like, what's going on over there? You're like very interested in your phone. Sorry,
Well, I'm
guys,
looking
it's
for
not
my...
Seinfeld related.
Yeah, I know, it's not. I'm looking for my favorite side character. I guess I have to go with Mom as well.
It's gotta be, right? There's no one else there.
There's, hardly anybody. That's a shame.
What are you gonna do?
I'm waiting for that line to pop up in the show, too. It's my favorite. I say it all the time. That's a shame.
That's a shame.
That's a shame.
How many times do you think it's in the show?
I don't know.
Like a lot?
Would you say every other episode?
No. No way.
Oh, okay. At least 5 times a season, if you don't count season 1?
Yeah, I'd probably say so.
Of course, they might not even do it by season 2. It might wait till season 3. I don't know. I don't know. You know, we'll find out, but maybe a hot take. Season 3, it gets pretty good.
Uh-huh.
But I also don't necessarily care for it that much because the entire time, most of season 3 is just them pitching the show.
Oh, because there's actually a plot storyline.
Yes, and the fact that the plot is what we're already watching.
Just the trees, Johnny.
Just the trees.
I can't wait for that line.
Yeah,
I
I
say
like
that all
that.
the time, and no one has any idea what I'm talking about.
Nope. No one knows. Was there any other categories?
I don't know. We should have probably prepared for this better, but hey, it's our first episode.
Yeah, we're getting used to it.
Favorite line? I'm gonna go half turn, full turn with the eye roll.
Yes.
I'm talking about the movie theater.
Oh, dude, I'm glad you said that. I wrote that down and I didn't even think about it. Yeah, great line. And then I'm gonna go with when George goes, "Guys with cats." I don't know. Because it's so subtle, and it's like I completely agree with what he's saying.
It is a little weird.
Name a guy with a cat
That's normal.
that you know.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know any guys with cats. And if they have a cat, they have a
dog
dog.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It is
weird.
Yeah, it is. And he has 2 cats. Let alone
Right.
2 cats. That's...
Well, and that's the thing too is maybe if it's a family thing. If you have a family home, you guys have a cat, whatever. But a guy living on his own with a cat is very rare.
Yeah.
Gamble has cats. Nobody has a girl, so it's
True.
let that slide.
They're more or less hers.
Right, but they're implying this is a single guy living on his own with 2 cats.
That is weird. Yeah.
It's really weird. So yeah, I love that line.
I would. The other category is favorite obscure thing, whatever obscure reference or line or whatever it is we take away from it. There's not a lot of work within this season.
Well, how is that different from favorite line?
Because I would choose just the trees, Johnny.
Right.
My favorite obscure
Right.
thing.
Okay.
Whenever that comes up, or what's something we say all the time that's stupid? I don't know.
The omelet dam.
Oh, the omelet. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another one of my favorite things that is just not even really meant to be that funny.
Right. Ooh.
It's tough to do, man.
It is, but maybe something with I don't know. I was gonna say I just enjoyed Kramer's enthusiasm for the stocks not going well.
For how much he hated, or how much he was enjoying them failing, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, man. There's really not a lot to work with in season 1, so I don't know. I guess we gotta go with that. Also, shout out to that line where they try to convince him not to have tuna, and then he doesn't, and then George ends up getting the tuna.
Odds
anyway.
tuna.
Love it. Classic
That's
George.
actually classic. Yeah, that is classic George. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. George, I feel was right there, ready to go.
All the time.
From the first, well, probably from the first episode, but mostly season 1. George definitely already feels like he's in his groove. Honestly, though, in the male unbonding episode, and the stock tip, he did have a few hiccups, I guess. The pacing in the first season just felt a little slower. There wasn't as many laughs, and they weren't as big either. I feel like as the show goes on, there's more laughs and they're all bigger than what we got here in season 1.
True. All right, let's do another category.
Okay.
MVP of the season.
MVP of the season?
George, right? I gotta
Yeah,
go
George. Yeah, it's either George or Jerry. Nobody else has enough going on.
Elaine doesn't get there for, I feel a while, honestly.
Yeah, it takes a while to bring Elaine in, and right now, yeah, she's not doing a whole lot. But George, probably, yeah. Because, right away, Art Vandelay, architect, all that good stuff. And him yelling at Jerry at the bank and, yelling about the pennies.
Yeah, while they're at the counter, they're just
Yeah.
yelling at each other, and he's like... He's like, oh, what do you want to do? Quit my job? Because she wants him to put all the quarters or whatever in there. I like that line too. But yeah, definitely that'll be a more contentious one. I feel like when we go on, because we've had an episode where we rank our favorite characters or whatever. We might revisit that at the end.
Yeah.
But I feel like on a season to season basis, it'll be
Season
more
MVP.
contentious between the three men, and then when we get later, probably all four of them. Because I think Elaine, I want to say around like season 4 or so, she has some really good stuff.
He has some good stuff, and then I love it whenever she takes over for Peterman. Like a lot of that
That's great.
stuff's good.
And we could give it to someone, a side character maybe.
Side character, yeah, because there's going to be a few times where Jerry Stiller is going to be in the running. George's dad. God, Banya. Banya's going to be in there. Peterman, yeah. A lot of great side characters. So, yeah, MVP of the season. I need to write these categories down so I can actually like take notes on this while we're watching the episodes. That would be good. I forgot about you suggesting the categories. But, yeah, interesting too. I guess I've never heard of a show getting approved for 5 episodes either.
That is weird. It's such a small number.
And then, like, what's season 2? Like 13 or something?
Yeah, I think it's 12.
So,
but yeah.
I'm excited for it because, I mean, season 2, we already get the Chinese restaurant.
Right.
And episodes like that. So, season 2 also gets good.
Yeah, season 2.
Pony Remark.
Statue. I love the
Statue's
Statue.
good, yeah.
Heart Attack.
Yeah, only 12 episodes. Busboy's good.
Some good episodes.
Huh?
Some good episodes.
Right. So 12 episodes only equals to 17 in the first 2 seasons. Just kind of weird. Because then after that, everything's like 20-something, 22.
Normal stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you, we'll round it out here, what do you give this season?
It's going to have to be decent.
I'm going to give it low-key.
Because it's still Seinfeld, but it's
still
definitely
Seinfeld.
not quality Seinfeld.
I give it decent too, because it's still better than...
Ding, 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 ding.
Exactly. Double decent on a decent show.
Yep, I was going to say something inappropriate, but I'll save it.
So you're for what?
I don't know. After we get off air, I don't know.
Alright, nice.
It's a double decent.
Yeah, but... Yeah, it's still better than... I still watch these 5 episodes over most sitcoms now. So.
Yeah. Did you ever get into 2.5 Men?
No.
It's rough.
Is it really?
It's like funny, but it's so...
It's so cliche sitcom?
Yeah. It's like the funny... Like as cliche as a sitcom can get, it's like right there, but it's like the funniest of the cliche sitcoms. Gotcha. I guess. Because it's got some good laughs, but it's always just like... You're like, nobody talks like that. Like, you're talking like a sitcom.
No one sets up a joke that perfectly.
Exactly.
All the time, yeah.
Exactly. That's the problem.
Well, there you go. We gave it a double decents on
Double
the Decent
Decent
Show special. I guess we'll call it Podcast About Nothing.
Yeah. Whatever happens, happens. Unless we can come up with a better reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So hope you guys enjoyed the first episode covering season 1 of Seinfeld, doing a Seinfeld miniseries. Next episode will obviously be season 2. We just have to consume it, and then we'll create it. For Reagan, I'm Ryan. You have a great night.